All right, leaders, welcome. We're going to talk about one of the most powerful engines in our entire business, and that is our corrective action system. Now, this isn't just about, fixing mistakes. It's really about turning problems into strategic opportunities for growth and making us more resilient. Let's explore how that works.
So as leaders, your role isn't just to oversee this process, it's to champion it. A well-run corrective action system protects our customers, it drives real improvement, and it directly strengthens our bottom line. So let's walk through the key stages that you really need to know.
Our journey today is going to cover 5 key milestones. First, we'll start with the why this matters so much. Then, we'll walk through how we actually initiate an action, how we find the real root cause, how to implement solutions that actually last, and finally, how we verify that the problem is truly, genuinely solved. It's a full cycle of improvement.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about mindset. Every nonconformance is a data point. It's not just a problem we have to fix, it's a signal. It's pointing to a potential risk or maybe even a hidden opportunity to make our whole operation stronger. This process is how we formally respond to that signal.
It is absolutely crucial to understand the difference here. Corrective action is reactive. We're fixing something that has already happened. Risk mitigation, on the other hand, is proactive. We're trying to prevent a failure before it can ever happen. So one addresses the past, the other secures the future. And we need both. They're both essential.
So how does this whole process actually get started? Well, it begins with an official trigger. That moment, we turn a simple observation into a formal request for action. Let's take a look at how that happens. And this right here, this is a cornerstone of our quality culture. It is not just one department's job, it is literally everyone's responsibility. And as leaders, our role is to make sure that every single person feels empowered and frankly obligated to raise their hand when they see a problem.
And this is the tool that kicks everything off. Our corrective action request form. It all starts right here. A really clear description of the problem on this form is critical. It ensures the whole investigation starts with accurate information, capturing the who, what, and when.
Okay, now we're getting to what is probably the most critical phase of all, the investigation. Our goal here is not to just put a Band-Aid on a symptom, it is to dig deep, find the true root cause, and solve the problem for good.
And our primary tool for this is the 5 whys technique. It seems deceptively simple, but it is incredibly powerful. By just repeatedly asking why, we start to peel back the layers of a problem. We move past the immediate symptoms to discover the systemic issue that's really at the core. And this is what prevents us from wasting time on fixes that just don't stick.
But what happens when the trail doesn't lead to a faulty machine or a flawed process, but to a person? This is a really critical point in any investigation, and it definitely requires a more nuanced approach.
Look, human error is never an acceptable root cause. It's just a symptom. We have to ask why the error happened. Was the person fatigued? Were they under a ton of pressure? Did they not have the right resources or training? Or are we fighting against those negative norms, that dreaded phrase, well, we've always done it that way? Understanding these human factors is the key to creating solutions that will actually work. So, once we've finally identified the true root cause, we can move on to actually crafting a solution. And the goal here isn't just a quick fix, right? It's an effective, lasting action that prevents this specific problem from ever happening again.
This is where we shift from fixing just one problem to strengthening the entire system. Your teams have to be asking this question: where else could this same failure pop up? By finding similar vulnerabilities, we can leverage the lesson from just one failure to protect the whole organization.
And right here, this is how we connect the operational fix back to high-level strategy. We have to ask, does this event change how we understand our risks? Does our SWOT analysis need to be updated? This is how we make sure that the learning happening on the factory floor actually informs the decisions being made in the boardroom.
Finally, we reach the end of the process. But, and this is important, implementing a solution is not the last step. We have to close the loop by verifying that our fix was actually effective.
The bottom of our form actually guides us through this. We need a plan to verify the fix, and we need objective evidence to prove that it worked. It's only after we can confidently answer yes to that question, has the corrective action been effective, that the request can be formally closed out. And this whole process feeds directly back to you. The data, the trends, the lessons learned from every single corrective action, they're all summarized for management review.
This is your dashboard. It's your primary tool for overseeing the health and the continuous improvement of our entire quality system.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. A process document, it can only do so much. The real power of continual improvement comes from our culture. As leaders, our challenge is to build an environment where every employee feels safe to identify problems and empowered to see them not as failures, but as the first step toward becoming a stronger, better organization.